Um, so so anyway, welcome, and we're here. I'm at a different place, as you can tell, than usual, and I am actually on vacation doing this wine tasting, which is interesting. Getting ready, the neighbor is mowing the lawn, and I have friends that are joining. Hi, Melissa, welcome, top fan. Sorry, Mar. So, so as you can see, that's the house behind us, and you can see if I switch to the other side of the table, you'll see the beautiful view, but we won't be able to stream, so I'm not going to do that. But I do have some friends joining us, and I think it's really important to point out that we all got COVID tested and we got our results before we stayed together. So there are a few of us who have been quarantining for the most part, and I'm thankful they were able to join us for the tasting tonight. And so one of my friends, you've heard me talk about her before, and some of you know her. She's a fantastic chef, so she inspired some of our wine tastings today. So we're going to have some yummy food to pair. Hi, Greer. So welcome. Tonight we are tasting a white blend from Provence in southern France. And then we are also tasting a red blend from the Languedoc-Roussillon in southern France as well. Okay, and I have maps. I'll tell you all about it. Feel free to ask any questions. Lots of you have these wines at home, and if you don't, hopefully you're enjoying something good. Please let us know what you're enjoying. Maybe it's a blend from southern France, or maybe it's your favorite cab from California. Whatever it is, we're happy to share with you tonight. Hi, Christine Shears. Welcome. Thanks for helping me out today. And I hope it's okay that I identify that Mary is joining me, and Keith, as well as Greer. So, anyway, we're as you can see, we have these beautiful gardens behind us, and the sun is setting, and it's a beautiful night. And so we're starting with this this wonderful white, and I have put together. I know a lot of you are into the pairings, so a cheese plate with garlic and herb cheese, which will go nicely with the white, cheddar, honey goat cheese. Can you not see it? And then a triple creme. And then there's also a pepperoni-ish meat, but it's truffle. So that'll be great with the red. And then we have some fettuccine Alfredo that you see. That will be fantastic with the white wine. Okay. How do I know that? Number one, I've tasted them, and number two, I've researched them. The last dish that we have is going to go with the red wine, and it's a fantastic, as I said before, from the Languedoc Roussillon. Hi, Chris. Oh, good. I'm so glad that you're in Vermont and joining us. We're in Maine, but I'm glad that you'll be able to listen later. And hi to Mr. and Mrs. Westberg, and enjoy your dinner. All right, and feel free to comment. So, Greer, can you just tell us, what is this called? What is it?
It's a petit sirloin.
A petit sirloin?
A gorgonzola cream sauce.
With a gorgonzola cream sauce. I don't know if you can see it. Fantastic. Now, as you can imagine, you're not surprised. I've been super annoying to the people who are with me because, hi, Lori, welcome, because I wouldn't let them eat. Oh, the quiche. It's in the oven. Keith is going to get the quiche. Thank you, Keith. You can go in the door. So I haven't let everybody eat, because had we started with the petite sirloin and the gorgonzola sauce, it would completely block your palate for the white wine. Okay, so we were supposed to wait. Greer and Mary did not. So tell us, they're giggling over here. Tell us, guys, is it okay? Is the white wine good with the because it's a creamier sauce and it's gorgonzola? There's a chance. Here comes Keith. Okay, I'm sorry, honey, but do we have a knife to cut it? There goes Keith. All right. Anyways, it's a vacation. All right. So I want to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so nice to see all of you and see your comments. And I am going to talk tonight about these wines and about food pairing and how I knew what would go with what. And part of it is, there's the knife. Thank you, Keith. And the quiche is quiche with bacon. That was a recommendation, and so there goes Keith and Melissa said. And so what we do is, so when I get a wine, I taste it, right? And that's how I choose it. I hand select all of my wines. So I tasted these wines, and so I think about what they might go with, and then I research it as well. And so Greer and I knew that we were going to be doing this, and so we sat down and said, okay, it recommends bacon. What can we do? Really, the conversation was, I'm not the greatest chef, so it was more like, what can I do easily and quickly that would taste well with this? And then Greer came up with her special courses as well. And so the quiche is super easy. It's a crustless quiche. If you want the recipe, let me know. Every time I serve it, people love it, but it's pretty much, you put it all together. It's super easy, and then throw it in the oven. But it has bacon and it has spinach and cheese in it. Okay, so enough about the food. All right, let's talk about the wine. So I chose two wines to round out our wonderful summer wines. And the white that I chose it because it's really fresh and it's really crisp, but it also has some depth to it. So as autumn is setting in, it's getting a little bit cooler. So I don't know, Chris, how it is in Vermont. Marla said it's pretty warm in Connecticut, but here in Maine, it's a little bit chilly. People went and put on sweatshirts. Keith already had his on, so he doesn't need to go get it. But but, but anyway, so I wanted a white that had a little bit more substantialness to them, and then I wanted a red that was a little bit lighter that I really loved. And so both of them worked out because they are both from the south of France. One is Sud de France, which is south of France, and that's the Languedoc-Roussillon. I'm going to show you maps as usual. And one is from Provence, which is along the Mediterranean coastline towards Italy. So they're from similar regions with the Mediterranean influence, and with Spain, the Spanish border and the proximity to Italy and the Roman trade route. So there's a lot of similarities in the regions. Another place we want to visit. All right, so why French wine again? I can hear you thinking now, gosh, Allison really likes her French wine. And so the reason is when you teach about wine, French wine is it's just a pure form of the varietals, because at the heart of the French viticultural system is the concept of terroir. So wine is the idea that wine is mainly a product of the physical environment, the soil, the microclimate, and that matching the right grape to the right soil is the essential first step to making wine. So it's all how they go about making the wine, and that's why a lot of it is organic, even if it's not certified as organic. They believe that wine should really exude a sense of place, a sense of what's going on around it. And because it took root in France in the Middle Ages, it remains the organizing principle, this principle of terroir in French winemaking. Okay, so now, is every French wine good? No, they certainly can make crap. And they can certainly sell it to Americans, right? Or to the Chinese, or anybody around the world. But usually there's so much good French wine being made there that most of the French wine that does make it to the US, our wine buyers know what they're buying. They're not big volume wine. They are fine wine, okay, and a great representation of the varietals. And of course, the ones that we pick are always hand-picked, mostly organic. These two, one is organic, one will be organic. And we'll talk more about that. But the main wine producing regions in France, we've covered Bordeaux, Burgundy, Loire. Tonight we're going to talk about Provence. We did the Rhone Valley. We haven't done Alsace. That is a major one, but I haven't found one yet that I want to share with you. But once I do, we'll certainly try that. And so the Provence and Languedoc-Roussillon are the most underrated in France. And that's because they produce volume wine for a long time, and now they're going to more fine wine. They have old vines, but some of the vines were ripped out. And so you get some really, really good values. Does anybody know what Provence is known for? What kind of wine? You can go ahead and enter that in your comments if you would like. Okay, and while you're answering that, these come from AOCs, which are specific growing areas that are designated by the grapes that grow there. And so these two tonight are really interesting because they're both blends, but they're both blends that are true to the regions. Okay, and the grapes, if you're going to be an AOC certified, you are restricted by the way you grow, how much you grow, and what is in your soil, and also the blending percentages, and the levels of alcohol and residual sugar. And AOC, thank you, is the appellation of appellation O control A.
Agriculture.
No, it's you know what? Who's gonna look it up? Someone's gonna look it up because I forgot to put it into my notes, and I should know it off the top of my head, but not impromptu. So, okay. All right. So we're gonna start with our wine 101. Yeah, it'll be right there. I just put it may be yeah. I just can't come up with it right this second. Good question though. And if you were at a live tasting, you would get a prize. You shouldn't be stumping me. I should know it.
Controlled designation of origin.
Controlled designation of origin, but what's the A? Is it appellation or agriculture?
Appellation.
Appellation. Okay, so I was right on. Okay, I was right on that part. But it's the controlled origination. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with the Henry Bonnard Palette Quintessence. Okay, and this is what it looks like. All right, and Palette is a specific vineyard. It's a special vineyard in Provence. It's a special region that's known for high quality wines. All right, and you serve it at 45 to 50 degrees. So let's go ahead and we're going to do our wine 101 tasting. Okay, so we're going to take a look at it first. What does it look like? All right, what color? And those of you who don't have the same things, you can put what you have and what you're seeing. So like Bailey's, like Lori, if you have your Bailey wine, the Zin, you could always say, I have the Zin and this is what it is. Okay. And Christine, if you have Dave Matthews, let us know, kid. All right. Greer says it's pale yellow. Yes. Anyone else? Okay. I'm going to give it a little bit more yellow, almost like a gold. Yeah, there's definitely hints of gold in it. Looking at this looks to me like it's going to be more voluminous. Okay, so it's going to have more mouthfeel. And just looking at the legs, it definitely sticks to the glass more. Okay, so Christine, yes, yours looks like Sunshine. What is that, or is that what you're drinking? Maybe Sip of Sunshine, which is a really good beer, apparently. Okay, all right, so then smell. And so you get a little bit of an aroma when you first smell it. It's not a huge aroma. It's not highly aromatic. And that's because the two main varietals that are blended in this, neither of them are known for their varietals, so for their aromatics. So when we did Pinot Grigio, for example, or Sauvignon Blanc, those are known to be aromatic. This is not a highly aromatic wine. What does that matter? It just has to do with what you're doing with or what you're experiencing with your food. Okay, so if it's highly aromatic, you want to eat something that will go with those aromas. It makes it a different experience. All right, so we smelled it, but we didn't swirl. All right, so let's go ahead and swirl. Oh, so good. I forgot to bring my cards out. Honey, I definitely get honey. Yep.
I thought you were calling Keith.
Could have been Keith. Keith, you want to get the cards? I'm just kidding. Sorry, honey. You're so helpful. He is. Yep. Yep. Greer and Mary are seeing firsthand. I don't give Keith quite enough credit, but I couldn't do this without him. He is always in the background making sure I see all the comments and have everything going. So cheers to Keith. Oh, we forgot our drinking game of the night.
No, drinking game
Cheers to Keith.
Keith is the magic word.
Okay, and the drinking game of the night, not Keith, not Keith. It could be. You want it to be? It's either Keith or it's vacation. I was thinking vacation. Can it be vacation?
Sure.
Yeah, everybody agree? Vacation? All right. Lori Bailey skipped right to red. French fusion. Oh, okay, perfect. So Lori Bailey has and Bill have a 2016 GSM, a Syrah Grenache Mourvèdre. And it's French fusion. Interesting. So no Bailey wine tonight. Cheers, Diney. Nice to see you. So we're just sharing. If you don't have the wines that we are drinking, share with us what colors, what you're picking up in the wine that you have. But identify it first so we know what you're doing. We are drinking this white blend. Okay. So we just swirled it. And now we're smelling. I got honey. I got green apple. Okay. What else? What else do we get? Okay, we get, oh, that's interesting. Vanilla. Okay, that's from Oak. Thanks, Diney. All right. Definitely getting coconut. Do you guys get coconut? So once you swirl it, it gets much more intense. And there's a hint of coconut on the top. It's like a tropical fruit. It's beautiful. And then when we taste it, oh, so good. Okay, so it's very round, meaning big, full mouth feel. So you want something like the fettuccine alfredo with it. You get big round fruits. You get there's floral notes to it. So definitely rose, definitely white flowers in it. Okay. All right. Mm. Okay. What else do you get? Anybody else? What do you get? I definitely get the honey,
Definitely honey.
spice. Okay. And that's what wine tasting is about. A lot of times it's hearing what you're supposed to taste in it and being able to identify that, right? Oh, that's what that is. That's a spice. That is a vanilla spice. There's a little bit of like a creaminess to it. Not the mouthfeel of creaminess, but the taste of creaminess. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this one while you're thinking about your wine. And please go ahead and share with us again. Like Lori did, she's drinking a GSM. What is she tasting? What color is it? Christine identified the wine looks like. I'm thinking, Christine, that what you meant is it looks like sunshine. And actually, this one I agree. Like it really looks like golden sunshine, right? And wine is so much about your experience with it, right? So here we are eating this lovely food, sharing with friends, drinking this fantastic wine, and this is something that I'll remember forever, right? What a special occasion. And that's what the special thing about wine is, that it helps you kind of set that stage. It helps you augment what's going on and add a little bit of history, a little bit of place. So here we are drinking this wine from France, organic. The winemaker is Stefan Spitzglas, and his grandfather owned the farm, Henri Bonnard, and wasn't ready to hand over the winery to Stefan. And so Stefan worked the land, and he really, really wanted it. And ultimately, his grandfather gave it to him, or he earned it from him. And his grandfather had founded it in 1940. Hi, Leanne. Welcome. And so we're just jumping into, I'm just talking about the white blend, the Henri Bonnard. And so his grandfather, gave it to him, or he bought it from him. And the grandson took it and ran with it and created this beautiful chateau just outside, or in Provence, he made it certified organic. It was certified organic in 2010. And he's one of only 3 producers based in the tiny AOC that we were talking about before, the Palette AOC, which again, Appellation Contrôlée or Organization. It's a designation of it's a designation of origin, so you know where it's from. And when you know French wine where it's from, then you know what it's going to taste like, and you know what the varietals will be. Though this area is a blend, and so Leanne gets that cat pea smell, and I think that that's a little bit of the spice. That's what I think it is. Yeah, and that could be floral. So usually with Ugni Blanc and Claret, which are the varietals that are in this, you don't get the Cappy. The Cappy usually is for Sauvignon Blanc. So it's an astringency that Leanne's picking up. And I would almost call it that white flower honey balance. Okay. So Christina's saying hers looks more like sunshine, like the sunset in the window. Oh, pale yellow. Beautiful. All right. So Stefan oversees the 30-acre estate. I think I said he got it certified organic in 2010. They're all sourced from estate-owned plots. They're hand harvested and then the estate bottled, as are both wines tonight. And the kind of exciting thing about this place is that he created this beautiful chateau, this beautiful cottage that has a gorgeous view, and you can rent it out. You can visit there. Okay. So the Palette appellation is one of the most highly rated in France. The terroir is the soil, chalky gravel soil, and from an ancient lakeside limestone. Okay, it's located in a natural amphitheater. Keith, are you watching TV while we doing this?
That was you.
That was me. He was watching me to make sure everything went well.
See?
But the little amphitheater, I see the little amphitheater that surrounds his vineyards. It's like hills, and that amphitheater protects him from the big mistral winds. And so it really protects the vines from what could be damaging winds coming off of where the Rhone is. Okay, and so it has like its own little microclimate. And so the whites of Palette. So if you see a white from Palette, again, only three producers there. It's going to have Claret and Trebbiano, which is also Ugni Blanc. Okay, so those are the varietals. Trebbiano is the same thing as Ugni Blanc, and Claret. That's what's in this. They also can have wine grapes, which you might not recognize the name, Bourboulenc and Grenache Blanc, and also Muscat. Okay, so it's Bonad's top blend, bottling, and it's a benchmark of provincial whites, and has won numerous awards. So a lot of painters paint in where he is. It's very, very picturesque. His grandfather Henri used to speak to the vines, and Stefan created this to honor him. Okay, so I'm just going to show you my little maps here. All right. So we start with this map always when we're talking about France. Okay, and it's going a little slow, but so we've talked about all of these regions up here. Okay. Now we're looking at the southwest, the Languedoc and Provence. Okay. And here's, you can see it, Provence is at the southern end of the Rhone Valley, as is the Languedoc-Roussillon. And that's why you get these different blends. Those are the grapes for those areas. Okay. So did anybody answer what Provence is known for? I don't think they did. Do you guys know?
Is it olives?
Nope. Oh, well, yes, but in the wine world.
Perfume.
Perfume, yes. Lifestyle, but how about wine? Rosé.
Really?
Yep. Provincial rosé. And remember, we talked about it before, but the Pope from Italy used to love the rosé. That's how it became so famous. So we're talking about this area down here. Okay. Now I'm going to break it down for you. Okay. This is Provence. Okay, so it's a small area, but you can see it's right on the Mediterranean. Okay, and I'm sure if you haven't been there, let us know if you've visited. But if you haven't been there, you certainly must have heard of Marseille, right? And that's one of the big areas. Bandol. All right, so there are lots of small. Nice, right? Nice is so if you go to visit Nice, you can easily go to Provence to do wine tasting, and then Italy is like right there. So
Slightly.
yes. All right. And then this is just a picture to give you an idea of the terroir. Okay. So this is actually from, I believe, the Bonad estate. Not too shabby. So the cool thing about the wines that we're tasting tonight is you go, you visit, and it's beautiful. You love the ocean, you love the Mediterranean. It's all right there. It's food. It's the culture. It's the lifestyle. Okay. So very. If you have questions, let me know. I feel like I'm setting for you, kind of a vision of visiting France, since we've covered so many of the different areas, and the fact that you can really drive from one to the other. So if you have the ability, which I couldn't do this, but you could literally drive wine region to wine region to wine region and taste them all. It's a lot of wine. It's definitely a lot of wine, and they don't serve you as a well. A driver can take you from here to there. So it's kind of, it reminds me of, and I can be wrong, a little bit wrong on this, but it reminds me of if you were to travel New England, right? And you go Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and you've now traveled to 5 different wine regions. It could even be countries in Europe. Certainly what we covered 2 weeks ago was Savoie, where Geneva's right there. So it's kind of cool. So we talked about the Claret Blanche and the Ugni Blanc that's in this, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about those grapes. Does anybody else have one that has these varietals in them, Ugni Blanc or the Claret Blanche? Okay. While you're answering, I want to remind you that if you were looking for Ugni Blanc, you may have found Trebbiano. Trebbiano is the second most grown grape in Italy, same as Ugni Blanc. It's the same grape. Okay. Um, it also can be known as Saint Emilion, which is interesting, white Hermitage, and white Shiraz. Okay. And it's one of the most planted grapes in the world. And because it has really good yields, but it's not distinctive on its own. So you don't often find a Trebbiano on its own. It's usually blended, and that's because it's fresh and fruity, and but it has very high acidity. It's used mostly in Cognac and Armagnac and Orvieto, okay, which are bigger, bolder fermented wines, right? Cognac and Manarac, I am not pronouncing it right, Armagnac. They have that all over France, and it's just a big, bold. It almost reminded me, okay, you're going to yell at me if you're a whiskey drinker, but it almost reminded me of a wine whiskey. It was that bitter, that grip in your mouth. And then Orvieto was a nice light white. So it has the Ugni Blanc has minimal or mineral aroma. And actually, that might be, Leanne, what you picked up because there's a lot of mineral in Sauvignon Blanc. And so, like the cat's pee, that smell, that may be what you did, what you got. Okay. And then there's lemon, definitely lemon, stone minerality, and a bitter, they can have a bitter almond finish with the Trebbiano. And then the Claret Blanc, what that adds is, and they use that in vermouth quite a bit. It's high in alcohol and it's low in acidity. So they'll blend those together because you can see they're kind of opposites. And so they play with the blend to get the ideal acidity, the ideal balance. And so it's actually a really nicely rounded out wine in that way. And it's interesting, the Claret Blanc, although we don't hear about it a lot here, it is grown and there are some wines made in California, but it's the most common varietal in Châteauneuf du Pape. And so you might get tropical key lime, mint, green apple, lime, peach, licorice, white peach, and floral from the Claret Blanc. Okay. All right. So I would say questions, but anybody here, anybody online have questions? Anything that you can think to ask about? Okay. Ask away online. Is this the first time you've joined us? Yeah. Yeah. All right. And yes, with beer, that's okay. So the harvested grapes for this one, the grapes are destemmed, they're sorted, and then they sit on a 24-hour cold maceration. So they sit on their skins and macerate, and then they are pressed, and they ferment in barrels, and that's where you're getting that spice. Okay, so some food pairings for this wine: white poached fish, pasta, risotto, fettuccine alfredo we have tonight, and quiche, and especially quiche with a bit of bacon in it. Can I have some actually, please? And milder meat dishes, and then some salads. Okay, so this is interesting tonight, having people in person aside from Keith, because I'm not really talking to them. I'm talking to you guys. It's a weird feeling. Okay, so I'm gonna taste the fettuccine. It's nice. It's light and creamy. All right, so the question is, does it make the wine better? And does the wine make the food better? My personal, and I made it, I don't think so. I think it's all right. I think it's okay. I'd like to have a little bit more taste in the Alfredo sauce, and that would bring out the wine more.
Pepper? Yeah.
Greer says a little bit of pepper. Okay, so I tried the quiche with it. Very good. Definitely very good. All right, a little bit about Provence in southeast France. It's the largest AOC and the biggest producer with about 75% of wine production. About 89% is rosé. It's the most famous area is the Bandol, the deeply black red wine that has been celebrated and around since the Middle Ages. It's interesting. Provence also includes the southern end of the Côte d'Aron. So some of these wines, as I said before, Châteauneuf du Pape is in Rome. I mean, in the Rhone Valley. And so you're going to see some of those influences, some of the same grapes. Um, they're oftentimes, like when you think of Provence, you think of lavenders and sunflowers and olive trees. And so they also have wine, lots of wine, red, white, and of course, rosé. Um, so it's only about 150 miles and about 100 miles north to south. So when I was saying driving, through New England, again, if you picture that, if you kind of are able to get your head around that, wow, I drove from Connecticut to New Hampshire, you would have traveled to another wine region. You could even have traveled to another country. Have any of you ever driven through Europe? It's one of my dreams. I've only driven through France, not country to country. I've driven in a lot of countries, but and Sicily and Italy and Australia and in South Africa, but I haven't driven country to country. So the history of Provence, Marseille was the first one founded in Phoenicia in the sixth century BC, and then traders brought in the vine. So it's been around since that long ago. They didn't drink red wine like we think of red wine today. The grapes were pressed and processed very quickly, giving wines more of a pale color. Okay, and then the Romans took over and spread the wine through, and that increased wine's popularity. So the region has been disputed for a long time by Barcelona, Burgundy, the Kingdom of Burgundy, the Holy Roman Empire, and dominated by the Catholic Church. And so each culture contributed to the vast array of grapes that are in Provence. And the Catholic monks are the ones who perfected the winemaking techniques for fine wine. So great climate, lots of sunshine, and kind of a fun fact, wine or vines need 1,400 hours of sunshine. How many hours?
1,400.
1,400 hours of sunshine. They're falling asleep.
1,400
to produce ripe fruit. So Provence averages 2,700 to 3,000. I wonder what New Hampshire does, because they're trying to grow, some good wines. I wonder what Mass has, right? How many hundreds of hours of sunshine? Let us know if you find it. Okay. All right. So I think we've talked a lot about Provence. I think we can move on. There are lots of different grapes that are grown there. So if you have any questions about that, we can talk about that. Oh, one last, no longer top fan. Oh, they removed Chris Westberg's top fan. I don't get it. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. I'm sorry, Chris. It must be because you were listening while having dinner and not commenting. I don't know when you lost it, but you're, in my book, one of my top fans. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have a Côte d'Aron rosé called Miraval. I did not realize that they own it, and I don't know if they still own it. But Miraval is a blend of Cinsault, Grenache, Syrah, and Vermentino. Okay, kind of fun. All right, let's move on to the red. I'm going to try the white one more time. Okay. I love it because of the vanilla, the spice, the big mouthfeel. So those of you who are trying different things, try to think about what it might go well with and what qualities that you're picking up that you enjoy, okay? Because a lot of times we drink the wine, we're not thinking about it, but if you're drinking a GSM from that French Fusion, for example, and there's something you like about it and something you don't, that's going to help you figure out your personal flavor profile, okay? All right, so now we have the red. All right, and these are both on my site. This is the Domaine Piquemal Tradition. And I love this because it's the winemaker is a top winemaker. She's a woman, and she's phenomenal. She's doing incredible things. She's working towards certification. She is sustainable right now and very close to organic certification. Okay, so this is a blend. Typically we hear Rhone blends are GSMs. What are GSMs? Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre. Okay, so those are the big Rhone blends. And so this area, as I showed you, the Languedoc-Roussillon, they're making reds, but their Cinsault is beautiful. And they're, I'm sorry, it's not Cinsault, it's Carignan. I'm off. I'm on vacation. It's 14 and a half alcohol by volume. So anyway, so they're the reds, and I will tell you the blends. But anyway, they're making beautiful wine with Syrah, Mourvedre, Grenache blends. A lot of Grenache. Now they are on the. This is Languedoc Roussillon. Okay, so they're on the coast on the Mediterranean, and they are very very close to Spain. Okay, another hotly disputed area, but they'll have very similar varietals to Spain. They're a huge value. If you can find a blend, a red blend from Languedoc Roussillon, it's a good value. It's going to be a fine, fine wine. Chris, I'm so sorry that the world is so cruel. I don't know. I don't know how and why it takes the top fan. I don't know. Okay, so the Picamel we're going to serve at 62 to 64 degrees. Remember, that's room temperature way back when. The region is, as I said before, Roussillon in the Languedoc. The owner and winemaker is Marie Pierre Picamel, and she was the 2018 Roussillon Winemaker of the Year. And if you have a chance to look at her site, they have some really really good media on it, and it's her like in the fields talking with people. She just, it seems like she's very very interactive, and I'm wondering if um, I have the picture. I don't, but there's a picture of her there with her cellar workers. She just seems like she's right in it. Now I know she's right in it. She's right in it. She's involved in it. The It's a fourth generation, 48-hectare estate in the foothills of the Cordilleras Massif in the French Pyrenees. Okay, beautiful terroir. Founded a century ago by the Picamel family. Quality driven, sustainably farmed to allow the natural expression of the terroir. In the heart of the Agly Valley, on top of a sunny plateau, and there's strong winds there as well. The landscape is really just beautiful, and the sunshine more than 1,400 hours. Exceptional. And so they're also right near a region called Mori that's known for sweet wines. The vines have an average age of 35 years. And the clay of the soil again, so we start to hear a lot of similar soil types. We hear ancient riverbed, ancient ocean, ancient seabeds. And again, as we talked about many times, that contributes to the complexity and what you're tasting in these wines. And so clay, limestone, pebbles rolled on terraces, black schist. And I think the neighbor is chainsawing. The terroir is really unique, and the wines are pretty unforgettable. They're a huge agro environmental initiative. So agro-environmental meaning environmental practices around farming. That's a huge huge initiative all across Europe, and a lot of, we've talked about this before, but agro-tourism is huge there, where you go and you play with the land and you create things and experiences for yourself. And so the agro-environmental initiatives have been certified at this winery as high environmental value, so that's a huge huge designation. And in 2020 they'll fully convert to a complete organic farming. Now, you guys haven't asked me this, but a lot of other people have in live tastings. Why do you no offense, but why do you why wouldn't you go organic? Why wouldn't you have an organic farm? Well, the issue is, yes, Chris, I'll get back to that. The issue is this. If when you organically farm, you have all these pests that are natural, but they eat the grapes. So phylloxera, whatever it is. And so you have to make some adjustments. You have to use other things. And sometimes it takes building an ecosystem to kill those pests that are infecting your vines. And so sometimes it's really hard to go organic. I was at a vineyard in Bordeaux, and they had to scrap their entire 2017 crop. And they had been trying to go organic, but then they had to try other solutions to try and save it. They had a lot of fog that year and hailstorms, and so they had just fungus and growth, and so they had to try other means to try and save their field. So when you're going organic, it's a whole system you're creating, and that can take time. And so they may use, phytosanitary products to maintain the biodiversity. But it takes time, and it takes money. It takes expenses. If you look right now in California, the wildfires have started again. And so though these wineries want to be organic, they want to be biodynamic, they want to be sustainable, they want to be water friendly and aware and have gravity flow, but the environment makes it hard, and they have to be, kind of realistic. So hoping that the wineries come out okay from all the new fires. A note from the winemaker. Let me get to Chris's question first. So Chris asked, "What is the blend?" Yeah, Chris, I glossed over it because I need to take a look again. It's 50% Grenache, 30% Syrah, and 20% Carignan. Now, the other C that, and you can tell my brain is not completely there. I think what the other C was, I can't remember what the other C was, but that is another varietal from the region. But this one is Carignan, and it's Carignana in Spain. I'm sure I butchered that. Okay, let's taste this together because I've been talking a lot. Let's take a look at it first. What color? What color is that? Definitely a dark a plum. Okay, what else would we call it? Okay, a burgundy. Yep. A burgundy might have a little bit more red. Okay, what else could we call it? It's definitely a deep purple. Definitely a deep purple. Okay, which would be a plum, right? So that works. All right. And so and it has a translucent core a little bit if you can look down, which is pretty impressive. So I can't show it to you on here because I'll spill it, but if you're drinking this wine and you happen to look straight down, you can actually see through it. So it looks like it would be opaque, but it's not. And that's the Carignan. That's a little bit of that, that it's more opaque. Maroon, yes, definitely. We'll give it garnet, we'll give it maroon. Yep. And I would almost, so the garnet would have a little bit of brown. And I see purple on the edges. That's interesting. And the maroon I see on the end, but definitely when you tip it, I can find both of those. Okay. All right, good. And so let's smell it. Oh, okay. There's that smoke, that earth, a little bit of like bacon, gamey. Okay. All right, you can see I'm getting excited. All right, so let's swirl it.
This is why she doesn't do it live.
Okay, so I'm getting like this candied plum almost aroma from it. All right, swirl again. And you'll notice, by the way, wine glasses, while you're identifying what you're smelling, I had to go with what was in the house here that we're renting. So this was my white, right? Always the narrow one, pushes up the aromatics, even though it wasn't an aromatic wine. And this is the wide base for the red, so that it can oxygenate and bring those aromatics as well, and warm up and accentuate the red wine. Okay. So any other smells anybody get? Yeah, it's black, it's just black fruits. It's I'm getting really excited, I'm sorry. Fresh black fruit. I love my wine. I love paying attention to the qualities in my wine, I should say that. I love that. I love when there's something like interesting to find in it, something different. So black fruit, anise, wild herbs. That's, yeah. Okay, let's try this again. And I have to be really careful with this glass. Usually you guys know I have those huge glasses. Oh, those herbs. I can pick up those herbs. And Greer and Leanne say black cherries. And Leanne, I love that little icon. Very cute. Definitely black cherries. There's a little bit of a little think of Greer's jealous, Leanne. A little bit of licorice, fresh red cherry. There's plum, pomegranate fruit, and then you get that earth. You get that smoke and that black pepper. That is all in the aroma. Okay. So trust me, those of you who don't have this wine, if you do have another red blend, see if you can pick up those. It might not be as complex or diverse, but see if you can pick up the earth or the game. Okay. Definitely the black pepper. Okay. Now we're going to try it. Leanne, you're right. She is. Yes. Greer is a top fan. That's right. Okay, Chris. So Chris says my dad gets oak and earth tones. Yep, definitely getting the oak. Yeah, and his mom says cherries. Absolutely, and there is a lot of cherry to it. Now, as you're tasting it, we take that first taste, and then we take that second taste, and now we really think about it. Okay, first taste. There's tons of black cherry in that, But as I'm paying attention to it, I start to get the anise. I start to get that licorice. Oh, the guys are laughing because I'm getting anise. Um, and Leanne, black pepper and earth. Yes. So that, okay. So Leanne, you nailed the black pepper. I can, it like, you just taste it. You get it on your tongue. And for a second, I couldn't put a word on it, but that's exactly what it is. It's like, it's a taste and a feel. So it's really smooth, more black fruits, licorice, and a very, very gentle finish to it. Medium bodied, so it's not too heavy. How was the steak with the gorgonzola, guys, or with the blue cheese dressing? Really? No, no, but how was it?
Oh, with the wine?
It was really good. But how was it with the wine?
It was delicious.
And feel free to pour yourselves more. Yeah. Okay, so nice balance, round tannins. Greer, you got the black pepper. Oh, Hillary, hello, welcome. And you got that black cherry taste. Yes, I do too. I just love it. And then you get some dried cranberry, you get raspberry, licorice, cured meats. Does anybody get that gamey cured meats in it? And then those plush tannins. Okay, so we're gonna go for it again. Okay. So as I'm experiencing this wine and each step picking out these different taste qualities, those of you who have been tasting with me for a while get that, yes, I'm a total wine geek, but it's also about finding the joy in the little pieces of life, right? Yeah. So you can travel to Maine like we are, and you can sit in your house and go to the beach, and that's the main attraction. Get it? Main attraction. Or you can stop and you can look at the beautiful vistas in front of you and see those lovely flowers and those different birds. I keep waking up in the middle of the night and the stars, unbelievable. And that's right. That's the joy. That's appreciating, stopping and appreciating and thinking about what's going on around you. And that's what we're doing with the wine. So I get so excited that you guys are picking out that Greer and Leanne are head to head on the black pepper, on the black pepper and the black cherry. Because what does that tell you? It tells you, number one, you are experiencing the wine, not just drinking it. But number two, you are able to now take it and say, this is what I like in my wine. Leanne is drinking for bad puns. And Chris says, it sounds like Jurassic Park in the background. Yes, yes, Chris. Then it's like he knows that we're broadcasting. And then an airplane goes. But it's teaching you that the way that you can experience wine and food in a different way, that it makes it almost a more beautiful experience or more poignant experience, something you'll learn or you'll remember more. I guarantee that those folks that are joining me tonight live will remember this kind of wine. And when you taste it again, thank you, Keith is giving me light. When you taste a wine like this again, hopefully you'll remember where you were and what was going on around you. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So Greer says delicious with the petite sirloin and gorgonzola sauce. Greer, is that a recipe that you could share? She will share with us. So those of you who cook, and if you have a little bit left of this, definitely, try it together with this. All right. So this wine is, I've talked a little bit about it, but it's in, let's see, what haven't I shared with you? Oh, a note from the winemaker. And I love to hear their notes because it really tells you about, again, I know I'm geeky about this stuff, but it really tells you about what their mentality was when they were creating this. And they are artists, right? So she says, some people think that being a wine grower is being a magician. For me, being a wine grower means using your know-how to work the land, vinify, blend, and age wines in order to transmit my passion every day to those who taste and share them. So sometimes we forget that, right? We forget that chefs are sharing their passion. Winemakers are sharing their passion. And so we now together in this community are sharing our passion around this wine. So it's an incredible value. It's unoaked. Keith is trying to give me light, and his phone has decided, Siri has decided to talk to him instead. So this, again, if I didn't emphasize it enough, they're very close to the Spanish border. So there's a lot of sunshine in this region, but you also get that perfumey mix of smoky rosemary, thyme, juniper, lavender, and olive that's unique to southern France. This is an amazing, like if you shared this wine, if you had friends to dinner and wanted to share a really different expressive wine, this would be the wine to share. Um, and then the winemaker, she shared that she when she's going through the vineyards, she's tasting, and some of you may have wondered, why is she tasting, what are they tasting for when they're tasting the grapes to see if they're ripe? Well, yeah, they're trying to see if they're ripe, but they're judging the pulp, they're judging the skin, they're judging the seeds, they're evaluating the balance of sweetness and acidity, and astringency. And so there's again more insight into really what's going on behind this. So food pairings for these wines, for these red blends from Languedoc Roussillon, soup with pork. Okay, that's local fare. Vegetables and beans, chili con carne, lamb rack with aubergine puree. Greer, I don't know what aubergine
Eggplant.
puree is. Oh, eggplant. Well, that makes sense. Their traditional cuisine is like pot au feu, local stews, grilled red meat, grilled cocotte, lasagna, fermented cheese, and some food that you would grill. Okay, so it's from the south of France. It's again an up and coming region. Great QPR, great quality for the wine, for the price, and it's pronounced Languedoc. I pronounce it wrong. It's pronounced Long Duck. Okay, have fun with that, Keith, and everybody else. Long Duck. It's a new appellation from 2007, and they have their goal that was set out when they created this region or substantiated, labeled the region in its own, is to present a product that's a symbol of modernity. I can't. Modernness. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying this. And diversity, identity, and then the Mediterranean art of living, right? Which is obviously pairing this food with this fantastic wine. So it's a huge area, but and all over it has different soils, different climates, and different grapes, resulting in unique wines. And that's why you get these blends. So again, we're going through France. Each area has their varietals. So the main varietals here would be red blends and white blends. And Provence, the main varietal was rosé. Well, not, there are a bunch of different rosés, but they're made from red varietals that are true to the region, and whites also. Okay, that are true to that region. So blends. I guess if you take anything away from these regions, it's that they're both blends. Okay. And they do have white wines in the Languedoc that are also really good. One of my favorite is Picpoul de Panay, and it's just a zesty, light white that's really lovely. So, seeing if there's anything else that's so important. I mean, they have Merlot, Cab, Sauvignon Blanc, the traditionals there as well. Okay. And they're also known for their Roussillon is known for its fortified wines, like Banyuls. Okay, and then there's also a really good sparkling wine from Lemieux, which is supposed to be really, really good as well. So there's a myth that Dom Perignon learned how to make champagne from Lemieux, which is in the Languedoc. So they say that he learned there and then he brought it to Champagne, but it's disputed. It's kind of an interesting French fact. Okay, one of the wine world disputes. All right, and Chris and Leanne are loving this. I'm glad. Yeah, it really is lovely. They excel at their blends, and let's see. I do have for you what the different grapes bring to the wine. So the Carignan, or as I said, Carignana in Spain. I know I'm not pronouncing it right. Anybody else want to try? Carignana. It brings in black fruits, dark fruits, pepper, licorice, spicy, savory qualities. That's from the Carignan. And you can find, I mean, this varietal, it's grown in the U.S. You just don't see it as often. And then the Grenache has the red fruits, the white pepper, the strawberry, the raspberry, and then the Syrah has smoke and bacon and herbs, black fruit, pepper, and violet. And the Mourvèdre, which isn't in this one, that brings in more full body, darker fruit, and meaty. Okay? All right. And so, lesson for tonight. Oh, we have not done our drinking game at all. This is the first time you can
Yeah,
tell that I'm on
disappointed.
vacation. I know. I'm so sorry. So we need to do a cheers. Cheers to everyone who's joining us tonight. Okay. And then a cheers to Keith for all of his help. You're all so quiet. No, here, here. No
Here,
rowdy,
here.
here, here. Here, here. Yeah. And then a cheers to all of you for hanging in there tonight. I hope that you learned a little bit. Um, and I hope that you enjoyed the wines that you have. If you have any questions, as always, you can reach out to me at on my email at allison@artisanwinetasting.com. You can check out my website at artisanwinetasting.com, and I'll be happy to respond to you. I have had a number of inquiries as to whether or not I'm doing live tastings, and I've been doing outside tastings with distance and oftentimes with a mask. So if that's something that is on your list, certainly feel free to reach out to me. And these wines are all on sale on my website at artisanwinetasting.com. And I still intend to have a game night, maybe by the end of the summer, if for Vino, for my card game. So if you have questions on that, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you all so much, and thank you all. Cheers to all of you for joining me. And I say this every week, or every 2 weeks, but I really mean it. It means so much to me that your time is valuable and that you choose to take an hour to spend with us. And so, cheers to all of you, and thank you so much. Have a great couple weeks, and we will see you soon. Take care and stay safe.